And then I think what you said about gratitude is so powerful, and it reminds me of Sheikh Muhammad Al Sharif, rahimahullah. He said this amazing thing to me once. He said, we were in a class, and he was saying that, how is your life set up? And he was saying that right now, if Allah took you and put you in prison for some reason, right? Imagine you ended up in prison for some reason. Would you read more Quran? Most people probably say yes. Okay. Would you do more dua? Yes. Would you do more sujood? Yes. Right? Like, what would your closeness to Allah be if you were in prison right now? Okay. And so most people would probably say, well, I'll probably be a much better Muslim and I'd be closer to Allah if I was in prison. So he's like, well, if that's the case, then that means that you've kind of set up your life in a way that it's good for Allah to put you in prison. And he was saying that our lives should not be like that, that Allah has to send us calamities and trials and all these things just so we become better Muslims. He's like, how about if you set it up the other way? That whenever Allah gives you something, your level of gratitude is so high. It is next level, right? And every time Allah gives you something, your iman boosts and you give Allah so much thanks, and you go out and you distribute to the people and you're just on a next level. That means Allah giving you good things is good for your iman, right? So setting up your life in a way where, you actually are using gratitude rather than using trials and tribulations to get close to Allah, I think it's a really powerful thing that he said.
Absolutely. Very, very, very beautiful, right? But just a quick thing on that. I think one thing that I've also noticed, right, and sometimes I interact with people who are actually in prison, and I think so. That scenario, yes, just live a life of sabr and shukr. If things are good, happening good for you, then definitely excel and show more gratitude by actions and and verbal action as well as physical action, and using that ni'mah, that blessing, in the right direction. However, if you are actually also tried with sabr in the situation where calamity strikes you, then don't also be shy, right? Because actually, people, that's another thing that shaitan tricks you up with, that, well, I don't want to be good now because things are not going well, right? I mean, am I just like being untruthful, being a hypocrite, right? So some people actually who are in inmates, they'll be like, yeah, I didn't used to pray, but now I'm praying, like, I feel sometimes like, what am I doing? Am I only doing it? Well, Allah is now put you in that situation to wake you up, so utilize that and use that. However, like, yeah, absolutely, when you have that, excel. And that is actually, so obviously we have two situations, right? So one is either you're really excelling and things are going the way you want, and actually that is a very challenging time, right? I mean, same thing happened with as well, the Battle of Uhud, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَصَيْتُم مِّن بَعْدِ مَا أَرَاكُم مَّا تُحِبُّونَ, and you disobeyed when we showed you what you love, right? So you saw that things were turning around the way you wanted, and boom. And that's what we do, right? I mean, look at when we are sinning most, right? When we are celebrating marriage, graduation, Eid, and what have you, and may Allah protect us. So that should definitely not be the case. I mean, if we are not excelling in gratitude and good action, we should definitely not go the other way and start disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think really, bro, like, I mean, maybe the ayah specifically, but there's an ayah where Shaitan's talking and he's like, I'm gonna get these guys. And he's saying everyone except the grateful.
Right,
Okay?
right.
Like everyone except the grateful. Do you know the ayah? Am I right in
Yeah, so I
understanding?
mean, so I think maybe two places. Like one way he says is like وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ, and you will not find most of them to be grateful, right? So I
Mm,
think that is really a very connected topic, is that you will not find these human. I will deceive them, and you won't find them being grateful. And I
yeah.
think that's also a good point to talk more about gratitude, because how you were saying that what could be some of the practical ways. If you don't feel yourself grateful, I think that's another thing, right? So if you don't
Mm,
feel your heart to have the qualities that you should have, dig deeper. Why is it? Where is it coming from? And most likely, it will be coming from this ego side, right? Where you
yeah.
feel that sense of entitlement. I should
Mm,
have had this, right?
yeah. And
And
this is
why
this
should
is
you have
so
this?
powerful. Yeah, because like when I think about it, I'm like, you know what? One of the things that can really kill the ego, like you said, is gratitude. Because gratitude is one of those things. It does exactly what we're saying to do with ego, which is it takes the focus away from me, my greatness, and what I can do, and all of this, and it puts it on to Allah, right? And so what that does is not only, I mean, and this is why gratitude is one of those. It's like transformational things, because if you are grateful to Allah, like first of all, you're fulfilling the rights of the blessing that Allah's given you. You are making Allah happy. Allah will increase you in what you're doing. You're protected from shaitan. There's so many benefits that come from being grateful, but it does require that lowering of uh, of your ego, right? Like, so if I go out and I'm trying to make money for years and then I start making loads of money, it's very natural from the ego perspective to go, oh yeah, you worked really hard and now you've got money, right? But a lot of the rich people I've met, one great quality I've seen in the Muslim ones is whenever they talk about their money and their business, they always go back to Allah. Especially the really successful ones. They're like, you know what? Allah's been so kind to me. Allah gave me so much. Allah did this. Allah did, and so much to Allah. And I see these people just keep getting more and more and more as well, right? So this relationship of ego and gratitude, I think it's a massive, massive thing. And I think, if Shaitan at that moment, for example, was thinking, hey, you know what? Like, Allah has honored me to come to the level of the angels. What are the angels doing in this situation? Well, all the angels are prostrating like Allah asked. You know what? I'm so grateful Allah brought me to this level. Let me prostrate as well, right? Like actually
Absolutely.
being grateful for the situation he was in, as opposed to kind of having that I'm entitled to this.